blijde met de komst van Dr. Umar Johnson. Afgelopen vrijdag en donderdag was hij in Amsterdam en dus nu, ja, ik kon het natuurlijk niet laten om niet naar Rotterdam te komen. Dus ja, ik zou zeggen, laat je inspireren. Mijn naam is Shahida Almtrouw, ik ben van Black Legacy Event. Dat is dus een project wat ik heb gestart om dit zoveel mogelijk te promoten. Dr. Umar Johnson heeft mij benaderd om dit op foto te zetten. Hij was al eerder in Nederland en het is hem zo goed bevallen, dus hij denkt van nou, dat kom ik nog een keer. Hij zal vanavond over topics gaan praten. Ik ga zelf verder niet zeggen wat het is. Ik ga niet te veel praten, want ik ben misschien een stuk minder interessant dan Dr. Umar Johnson zelf. Oh, kijk, zie je. Dankjewel. Een paar huishoudelijke mededelingen. Er mag hier niet gefilmd worden zonder mijn toestemming. Dus en ieder die denkt de camera... Oh, jullie zijn samen goed. Ja. En ieder die zijn camera gaat gebruiken, die wordt verzocht om deze uit te zetten. Graag ook telefoons op trill of gewoon stil, want het is heel storend om tijdens een lezing allerlei soorten telefonische geluiden te horen. Als er vragen zijn, die komen na de toespraak. Dus er staat dan een mic en dan kan iedereen de mogelijkheid nemen om een vraag te stellen. Dat zal Dr. Umar zelf aangeven. Dit evenement is in het teken van de fundraising event voor het op te zetten school, waar hij straks over gaat praten. Achterin heeft hij zijn merchandise, dus je kan dvd's, shirts kopen, maar je kan natuurlijk ook een vrije donatie doen bij de dames aan de poort. Ik ga verder eigenlijk niet langer praten. Ik zou zeggen, give it up for Dr. Umar Johnson!
Rotterdam, make some noise, black family, make some noise. Bring some Pan-Africanism in the building. All right, I want to thank everybody for coming out. I'm going to go ahead and get into my presentation. I see some new faces. I see some faces from my January visit. Nah, turn the lights on. They can see with the lights on. Yeah. Turn them on. Okay. I see some familiar faces. I see some not so familiar faces, but I want to thank everyone for coming out. For those of you who may not know who I am, for my new people, I'm Dr. Umar Johnson. I'm a doctor of clinical psychology. I'm also a school psychologist. I'm probably the most popular African-American school psychologist in the United States. I'm also an educator, a school principal. Up until 6 weeks ago, I was principal of a charter school in Pennsylvania, but I quit because I wasn't being allowed to do some of the things I needed to do in order to improve learning for the children. I'm the most requested African-American speaker in the United States, okay? And right now, I'm on a crusade to build the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey RBG International Leadership Academy for Black Boys, which will be followed up with the Anna Douglas and Amy Garvey RBG International Leadership Academy for Black Girls. The reason I want to build this school is because I think education is really our passport to the future, not just because Malcolm said it, but because now, more than any other time in our recent history, we see that sending our children to college in and of itself is not a solution. Okay, in America, we have over 2 million Africans with master's and doctorate degrees who cannot find a job. College is not an answer. Many of you who sit here, okay, are suffocating to student loan debt, okay? You got bills you need to pay back, and you don't have jobs sufficient enough to help you pay those bills back. I believe that education for African children in the 21st century will be an education that prepares them in the art of how to start their own businesses, their own enterprises. You don't need college. 1%, the top 1% of the richest people in this world never went to college, okay? College for black people is largely a scam. Why? Because after you get your degree, you're still dependent on white people to give you a job. And if they don't, you're still jobless. You get your bachelor's, you can't find work. You go back and get your first master's. Come back, still can't find work. You go back for your second master's, still can't find work. You get your doctorate, And now they tell you before you was underqualified, now you overqualified, still no job, okay? So we have to give our children other opportunities. The Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy is going to do just that. It'll be the first school in world history built based on the principles of Pan-African nationalism, that's Garveyism, and traditional African culture. I want it to be a residential school. The children will stay there. A couple of months ago, I was down in Virginia. There's a historically black college for sale in Virginia, St. Paul's College. Some of you who follow my work, you probably saw the video on the website at drumarjohnsonschool.com. We've been trying to raise $5 million originally to purchase that college. $5 million would have gave us enough money to acquire the school, rehab the school, and also operate the school for 2 years. Okay, the school went up for auction again at the end of the summer. They still didn't get a buyer. We reduced our campaign from $5 million to $2 million, which was what they're asking for to simply acquire the school. Okay, we did not reach the $2 million, but the school has not been sold, so we continue. At present, we've raised $250,000, $250,000 in about 5 months' time, which is not bad. I'm very humbled by that. And a lot of those checks came from Europe, and I even had a couple of checks come from right here, out of the Netherlands. So I want to thank those folks who cared enough about our children to send that check. Because we spend a lot of money on a lot of stuff that's not relevant. Right now, a lot of you out buying Christmas gifts, supporting the European social order. And some of you claim to be against the Black Pete celebration, but you are actively supporting stores that support the Black Pete holiday. That makes you a hypocrite. So we have to do a better job of analyzing our own behavior and how we claim to be against stuff, but yet we support it. Shopping has nothing to do with Christmas. Shopping has nothing to do with Jesus. That's a manipulation of European capitalism to get your money, and you fall right into it every year. In America, where I live, Philadelphia, we spend $3 billion on Christmas. $3 billion in 2 weeks. New York City, they spend almost $20 billion in 2 weeks. Okay? So we have to look at our economic behavior and how our economic behavior helps to keep us in the condition we're in. One of the contradictions of all black movements from the past. The central contradiction is we haven't yet had a sustainable economic program to finance the revolution. Most of our great organizations, their economic programs died with the leader that created the movement. When Marcus Garvey died, the economic foundation of the UNIA died with him. When Mr. Muhammad died, the economic foundation of the Nation of Islam died with him. When Noble Drew Ali was assassinated in 1929, the economic foundation of the Moorish Science Temples died with him. When Dr. York was incarcerated, the economic foundation of the Nawapian movement died with him. We have to create a sustainable economic platform. The problem with that is black folk love to talk black, act black, but we don't like to spend black. We don't like to discipline our economic habits so we can finance the institutions that we need. And let me be clear, fighting white folks is not what revolution is about. Building for yourself is what revolution is about. If we would put half the energy into self-construction that we put into opposing what white folks do, we'd be a long way down the road of progress by now. We have over-romanticized fighting back against white people. When do we start fighting for black folks? And let me be clear. We have to stop having moments of revolution, and we have to start having movements for revolution. Your protest against Black Pete, it cannot be a moment. It cannot be reaction for a day or for a week. That's a moment. You'll change nothing like that. It must be a sustainable movement, which means what? Opposition to Black Pete is 365 days a year, not just in December. In the United States of America, we had the Million Man March. One day. We marched for Trayvon a few days. We marched for Eric a few days. We marched for the 12-year-old brother in Cleveland, where I'll be on January the 3rd. A few days. We marched for Michael Brown. A few days. But they're moments. You don't make change in moments. You make change in movements. They have to be sustainable and they have to be progressive. We want to hit and miss. What people you know ever came out of oppression by having a once in a while resistance campaign. It's not going to happen. The Black Pete situation, there needs to be levels to that. Number one, as I said yesterday in Amsterdam, you have to internationalize that struggle. You got to find all the African nations that do business directly with the Netherlands, beginning with Shell Oil, which is based here, that drills in Africa, and get those countries to oppose any more trade with the Netherlands until the holiday stops. Not jumping on TV for photo ops. That don't impress me. We do that in America. I'm not impressed with somebody jumping on TV to oppose black people with your mouth. What are you doing politically to change it? Don't confuse revolution with trying to be a superstar. In America, we do that in America. People like to look like they're about revolution to be seen. But who's doing the backdoor work? On top of that, you got to do the research on all the businesses in the Netherlands that support the Black Pete holiday, financially or otherwise, and y'all must boycott them, not for a day, but for good. White people respect money. Interrupt their flow of capital and you get their attention. Moral persuasion will never win. Y'all shouldn't celebrate Black Pete because it's negative and derogatory. Hell, they put your ancestors in slavery. If they didn't stop that, they're definitely not going to voluntarily stop a Black Pete. Same thing in America. Open season on black men. Police killing black men now like they did to us back in the 60s. No one goes to jail either. You look at the Michael Brown case, they even fabricated the whole situation. After Michael Brown was murdered, the police went from house to house in Ferguson. I know because I have people on the ground there. They went from house to house, intimidating and confiscating videos and cameras of any African who caught what happened on tape. But that didn't make CNN. Knocking doors down. Where's your video at? To make sure no one had a record of what happened. And then you got reactionary black people who say, what? Well, the police officer told him to freeze. He should have stopped. So now you condone an assassination of fleeing suspects? Someone hasn't been legal to shoot somebody because they're running away. You can only shoot if they're armed and dangerous. And as far as the argument that Michael Brown shouldn't have ran to that, I say, nonsense. I would tell my nephew, if you feel that your life is in danger, police or not, you flee the scene. He ran because he saw the cop reaching for his gun. All the witnesses said the cop fired a shot inside of the police car. But the police assassin lied and said Michael Brown tried to grab his weapon and shoot him. Let me ask you a question. How many of you would reach into a police car, grab their gun, and try to shoot them in their own car? And then he ran, but the cop started shooting at him again. So he said, if I keep running, I'm going to die. He stops, turns around, puts up his hands, and gets shot dead with his hands up in the air. The cop says, I shot him because with his hands in the air, 300 yards away from me, he began to run towards the gun that I was shooting. Who do you know is going to run towards a gun that is pointed at them and releasing cartridges, bullets? Nobody. They made it up. So then President Obama, who some of you respect for whatever reason, he goes on TV and says, we want to give all the police a video camera so we can see what happens. Really, Obama? Well, when Eric Garner was choked to death, we all saw that, did we not? Yes. We saw the tape. They never even asked him to surrender. Police officer with a history of racially abusing Africans in New York City comes up behind him, chokes him down to the ground. Never once get an opportunity to surrender. Over 11 times the brother says, I cannot breathe. And he let him suffocate to death anyway. Obama sends Al Sharpton, bourgeoisie leader number one, still with a perm in his head. He sends him to Ferguson to calm the black folks down. See, that's the job of the gatekeeper, to make you comfortable with your oppression. And then Al Sharpton says, if you're protesting violently, then you're not for us. Who's us, Al? You don't represent black folks. You're an agent for the FBI. Everybody knows this. You even reported on the Italian mafia. Everybody knows this. You get financed by the same corporations that oppress black folk on a daily basis. Everybody knows this. Isn't it amazing that police will kill our children violently and then tell us to react non-violently. How dare you create the problem and then dictate the solution? As far as the protesters in Ferguson, I support 100% what they did. They burned the city down, and they were within their right to do so, and I'll tell you why. Had they not set the city ablaze, that case would have never been picked up by the United Nations Office of Human Rights. So for those of you who think you can change things all the time non-violently, sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's not. In that case, it was not. Had they marched through the street with candles and been peaceful, the UN would have never came in. But particularly because they were violent, it forced the world's largest body of government to look at the police treatment, the white police treatment of black men in America. So yes, I'm glad they burned the buildings down. And I support it. And I'm glad they looted the stores. I support that too. Why? Because those businesses that they quote unquote looted have been robbing black people blind in Ferguson, Missouri for decades, never putting a penny back in the community. So had Dr. Johnson been there, I would have looted. Sneakers, chicken, ice cream, whatever I could get my hands on. We have to stop letting people make us feel bad for reacting against oppression. But let us be clear, reacting isn't going to change anything. There must be a progressive and sustainable movement. So anyway, St. Paul's College is still an option for the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. If we get the college, it'll be the first time ever in American history that an HBCU has been purchased and turned into a residential school for black boys. It'll be history. But we don't do it for history. We do it to make a difference in the here and in the now. But last night in my hotel room, I get an email message. I find out that Cheney University, America's first historically black college, which is right outside of Philadelphia where I live, they may be getting shut down by the state. So I got to go and investigate Cheney and see if that's going to go up for sale, because that becomes another option. We have about 24 historically black colleges that are being shut down all across America. And why? Because rich blacks do not support historically black colleges. With all the celebrities we have, with all the basketball players and football players and rappers who we have, every 5 of them could sponsor a different HBCU and they would be all right. But they're not doing it. But on the other side, Harvard and Yale are getting so much money from their alumni, who are not celebrities, that the United States government had to step in and force Harvard and Yale to liquidate some of their assets because they were richer than the government itself. Look at that, y'all. Look at the tale of two sides. White folks supporting their colleges, black folk turning a blind eye. And many of them went to these black colleges. Oprah Winfrey went to Tennessee State. Sean Puffy Combs went to Howard University. How do you justify this behavior? Somebody said, well, Dr. Johnson, have you reached out to the entertainers for the $2 million to buy St. Paul's College? I'm about 6 degrees of separation from all famous black folk. I've sent some messages to certain celebrities, and everybody came back with the same message. We love him, we support him, we watch him, we know who he is, but we cannot be seen with him. They're afraid to support this because I'm unapologetically African and I'm politically correct and I'm totally confident in what I stand for, and I'm not trying to fit in or be accepted by white folks, which is one of our biggest problems as black people. For most of us, our decisions are based on what white folks find comfortable and what they do not. Which means your whole life is reduced to pleasing and comforting your oppressor. You cannot change your condition trying to be friends with the people who hold you where you are. So, with the $250,000, seeing how black boys are being murdered in the street like dogs, I entertained the idea of putting my school, the first one, because there will be more, putting it in Africa instead of in America. There was a meeting held a couple nights ago in West Africa about me and my school plan with some of the traditional rulers, and they said, we accept it. And we want Dr. Umar to bring the school to Africa. Well, I keep looking for $2 million in America. If you got $250,000, you convert that into African currency, you're looking at almost $3 million. bring it over here. My original idea for FDMG was to put it in Africa. It was. I shied away from the idea because I know black folks hate identifying with their country of origin. So I said, a lot of black parents in the UK and the US, even in Europe, will be afraid to send their sons to Africa for an education, even though he would be more safer in Africa than he would here. The tuition would probably be half of what I would charge if the school was in America because of the devaluation of African currency. So no matter how you look at it, Africa looks like a better place for the school, not only for the purposes of education, but it would allow me as a Pan-Africanist to take care of two birds with one stone. Not only educate the children, but lead the repatriation movement as well. Something that we really need to start thinking about. It doesn't mean everybody needs to go back to Africa. Some of you need to stay right here. Some of us are no good to black folks where we are, and we damn sure wouldn't be good to Africa. Okay? You can stay here with your white girlfriend and your sexually confused friends and everything else. We don't need that in Africa. We've got enough problems of our own. If you're going to bring problems, stay the hell here. Ladies, you can leave your hair here too. Okay? And I'm serious about that. So brothers and sisters, the school will be built. It's not a question of if, it's only a question of when and where. If you're interested in working at the Fred Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, because we are looking to construct a Pan-African faculty. I want Africans from every part of the world teaching our children. I want the Africans from the Netherlands. I want the ones from the UK. I want the ones from Canada, the ones from Jamaica. I want them to come from all over Africa. I want the ones from Australia. I want the ones from the United States. I want our children to get a thorough experience of the variations of African culture around the world. Because unlike many black revolutionary groups, I do not consider diversity to be a problem. I think diversity is an asset. The problem is we're so puffed up with ego that when somebody don't agree with us, we see them as an enemy as opposed to a potential ally. It doesn't make a difference to me whether you're a Nawabian, a Moor, Nation of Islam, Guys and Earths, a Hebrew, a socialist, an integrationist, a Garveyite. It doesn't matter. If your strategy is different from mine, good. That means we have 5 strategies working instead of just one. How can that be a problem? For every plan, there should be a B, a C, a D, and an E. So if the Moorish strategy is different from the Pan-African strategy, good. Put it in play. If mine isn't successful, maybe theirs will work. We got to get over the ideological masturbation. It's killing us. We got to get over the fights we're having over what to call God. We're still fighting over God's name. Is it Jehovah? Is it Amun-Ra? Is it Allah? Is it Olodumare? Is it Chukwu? Is it Jinyami? Is it Elohim? It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to call God is your business. It's a personal title. No name is appropriate for the Most High consciousness. Anyway, you can't name that which is unnameable. So why are we fighting? Have you noticed that most of us in our families, we all have our own nickname for our parents? Because it's a personal thing. A different name for grandma. It's a personal thing. It's how you relate to your loved ones. It's the same thing with the Most High. And then we want to fight over what to call ourselves. I'm a Moor. I'm an Aboriginal. I'm indigenous. I'm African. I'm Alkebalanian. I'm this. I come from planet Pluto or some shit. That ain't why we suffer. I don't want to waste no time arguing with you over what we should call ourselves. We don't suffer for what we call ourselves. We suffer for what we don't do for ourselves. So if you're interested in working at the school, send me your resume, brothers and sisters. I'm going to give it to you right now. You can put it in your cell phone or write it down. This is the email address for your resume. Okay? The email address is FDMG. FDMG. That's the acronym for Fred Douglass Marcus Garvey. FDMG resumes. RESUMES @gmail.com. FDMG resumes @gmail. Include a cover letter with your resume. Why do you think you would be good for our children? Include a resume. Include a cover letter. Include a picture of yourself. Sisters, I need to make sure you're natural. There will be no wigs or weaves at my school. No perms, no extensions, no jerry curls or S-curls. You must be natural, or you cannot work at my school. And your daughter must be natural, or she cannot come to my school. The time for worshiping white culture is over with. Okay? Some of you might say, well, what's wrong with my daughter's hair? What that got to do with education? Everything, black woman. First thing I got to do to your daughter is teach her to love herself as God made her, not the beauty shop. The #1 war against black women is for y'all beauty. Y'all spend more money than all the other women of the world put together on how you look because you're not comfortable with God's image. So we got to change that. Do not send me a resume if you cannot meet 2 criteria. The first one is you cannot be sexually confused working at my school. Okay? I have nothing against you if you're sexually confused. I got something against your behavior. I don't think it's in the best interest of African people because it's a population reduction strategy. 2 men can't make a child, nor can 2 women. I don't hate you or dislike you, but that behavior will not be accepted in my school. Number 2, if you're married to, dating, engaged with someone who is not an African, you can keep your resume to yourself. At my school, you will be a role model for African children. So if you are into the whole liberation movement, where you date other things other than African, I cannot use you. I cannot use you. I want our girls to see examples of strong African families. I want our boys to see examples of strong African families. Call it controversial, call it radical, call it militant, whatever y'all like to call me over here, because y'all use a lot of names for me from what I've learned. Scared black syndrome is what I call it. I'm comfortable in my skin. You need to get comfortable in yours. But if you're not dating outside your race and if you're not sexually confused, I welcome your resume. For my parents in the room, if you have a son who's aged 11 to 13, excuse me, 11 to 17, and let me share this before I forget. We don't just need teachers at the school. Some of you might say, well, I'm not a math teacher, I'm not a science teacher, I'm not a history teacher, I'm not a language teacher. You don't have to be. We need cooks, we need chefs, we need security, we need bus drivers, we need house parents, we need stocks persons, we need janitors, nurses, counselors, social workers, home and school personnel. We need people who can do natural hair. We're going to have a K-12 natural hair care curriculum for the girls. We need people who know how to do natural food. Our school will be 80% vegan. 80% vegan. We need folk who can teach our children how to prepare a delicious, healthy meal without ever turning on the stove. We need that. So don't limit yourself to being a teacher. Most people who will work at my school, who will be teaching our children, will not be teachers in a traditional sense. We need people who know how to farm. We're going to have a hydroponics clinic. I already have 7 to 9 pilots, black licensed pilots, who've already agreed to teach our children how to fly airplanes. So your son or daughter will get their junior pilot's license at 16 years old. Because black people don't have a damn airplane in the sky, not soul plane or no plane. We're going to have a maritime academy where we teach our children how to float vessels on the open sea. I got a whole group of brothers and sisters who are going to teach our children how to float ships, not little fisher boats, but commercial ships. When Marcus Garvey put ships on the water, people laughed at Mr. Garvey. What is he doing? What do you mean, what is he doing? He's getting involved in international commerce, in trade, and distribution, something black people don't have. If you want to sell something and ship it to black folks around the world, you got to go find somebody who don't look like you to fly it, to float it, to drive it. We don't have a distribution network. You remember what happened to Sean Puffy Combs a couple years ago? The world's richest hip-hop mogul. He lost his distribution contract and the world's richest hip-hop mogul. Top 25 Forbes richest people in the world list. Couldn't even sell a CD because he didn't even have distribution. Where's our distribution network? That's why Marcus Garvey gave us the Black Star Line. And for those of you in here who are real Pan-Africanists, not the fake type, but the real type, I invite you to come with me to Manchester, England in October. We're going to be celebrating the 70th anniversary of the 5th Pan-African Congress that took place in Manchester, England, 1945. That's when Kwame Nkrumah, Jomo Kenyatta, W.E.B. Du Bois, Ross McConan, Amy Ashwood Garvey came to England and plotted the end of colonialism. 70 years in October, we're going to celebrate that with a strong conference. So for those of y'all who really do believe in Africa for the Africans, for those of you who are not scared of what white people think of you, think about coming with us to England. Now, For those of you who have children, sons 11 to 17, in April, Dr. Umar will be hosting my annual Black College Tour and Pan-African Boot Camp for black boys ages 11 to 17. If you have a son, I hope you're listening. There's going to be 5 tours, one each of the 5 weeks of April. All this information is on a website, drumarhbcutours.com. I repeat it, Dr. Umar, D-R-U-M-A-R, HBCUtours.com. We're going to pick up kids from New York, Atlanta or New Orleans, Chicago or Detroit, Norfolk, Virginia, and Houston and Dallas. So you have to fly your child into the airport. We will get him from the airport. We will make sure he gets back to the airport, and we will make sure he get on that plane, okay? When we pick your children up, they get on a tour bus. It'll be about 45 kids per tour. So it's not a lot of room. So if you're serious, you need to act fast. Registration is not up. It should be up by New Year's Day. So let's say you fly your child into New York City. He will get on the tour bus with his African brothers in the States, and he will be joined by Africans from the UK, Canada, the Caribbean, all over the world. Everything I do is Pan-African. I don't believe in geographical tribalism. So we pick them up in New York. We take them to visit the black colleges in the Deep South. If we pick your child up in Houston and Dallas, we're going to take them to visit the black colleges in the Midwest. If we pick them up in Chicago, Detroit, we're going to take them to visit the black colleges in the Southeast. If we pick them up in Atlanta, we're going to bring them up to visit the black colleges in the Northeast. We want to get them out of their natural environment. Are y'all following me? So where your child gets picked up at is not where they will be visiting schools. They will be visiting schools away from that area. Because I want to make sure that brothers in America get out of their natural environment and visit schools that they normally wouldn't have an opportunity to be exposed to. In the daytime, they visit college. At nighttime, they got me. One-on-one with Dr. Umar, just like this. We're going to teach them about white supremacy and racism and how to deal with it in school. Because too many of our boys are not able to control their emotions. They let these white teachers push their buttons, and they're getting in all kinds of trouble. They got to understand that this is the art of war. There's a way you deal with racism, and you don't get all emotional about it. We're going to teach them African history and culture. We're going to teach them how to respect black women, how to honor black women, and how to be committed to black women. We're going to teach them about health, taking care of themselves, using deodorant, washing up. They're going to have fun too. We're going to take them to see some of the museums. Great Blacks of Wax Museum in Baltimore. If you've never been, you need to go. Or they might go to the Frederick Douglass gravesite, the Harriet Tubman gravesite. We're going to get around. They're going to have fun, but they're going to learn too. And at night, they have me. And they're going to love it. 7 days and 7 nights. And no, you cannot come. Stay your ass here. Just give me your son. You're the one who messed them up in the first place. That's why you like with the white ass girls. Give him the Dr. Umar so I can fix his consciousness. Okay? So parents, if you're interested in getting a website, drumarhbcutours.com. I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight, because by you buying a ticket to be here, you're supporting my fundraiser. This money that you paid goes into the bank account for the FDMG Academy. But I don't want you to stop here. Don't think because you came here and paid your €10 that you're done. You're not done, because we don't have the school yet. Every last one of you need to commit to a certain amount that you can afford once a month, and you need to mail that check to America. If you can only afford €5, so be it. Every penny counts. But just make sure you give me more than what you give the Arabs every day. Give me more than what you give the Chinese store every day. Give me more than what you give the Anglo-Saxons every day. Don't shortchange me. How many Chinese kids we've been put through college with the way we spend our money? How many Jewish kids you putting through college with your Christmas money? How many Mexicans and East Arabs you putting through college, whose children you putting through college with the way you spend your money? But you only want to give Dr. Umar €10? I don't think so. I better see more from every last one of you. And I can say that because I struggle for the people. I do real consciousness. I'm not a Hollywood consciousness. This is real. I work for minds. And for you parents, if you ever have an issue with your children and you don't know where to turn, every Tuesday morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 12 to 2 your time, I host a free teleconference for black parents worldwide. Everything's Pan-African. You can call in if you got an issue. Okay? School trying to do something to your son. I don't know what to do. You know that you can always call me on Tuesday. They want you to get your son evaluated for ain't no daddy at home disorder. You don't know what to do. Call me. They tell your son got to get put on medicine in order to go to school. You don't know what to do. Call me. Your child is being racially abused every day. You don't know what to do. That's my expertise. That's why I exist. That's the void that I fill. For my biracial brothers and sisters, you want to work at the school, you're more than welcome. You're African like everybody else in here until you prove yourself otherwise. But you must follow the same rules and regulations. So even though you biracial, in my book, you're African, and that means you can't date white people either. Get down with the program or leave me the hell alone. Make up your mind where you want to stay. And that goes for everybody in here, because some of y'all scared as hell of the stuff that I taught. But I ain't got no choice but to do this. Who else gonna do it? Who else gonna do it? Who else gonna build the school? Y'all know somebody? You gonna give me somebody else from the United States? They're not doing nothing but making money over there. Half the people who do this are hustlers who make money. They don't get back. I'm over here in the Netherlands on my own dime. When I came in January, I wasn't paid to be here. I do it because we're supposed to give back. I don't have to come to Europe. I'm the most requested person in America. I ain't never got to leave the country. I do it because I got an obligation to make sure I spread the energy around the world. That's why I do it. And y'all don't owe me nothing for that. But stop putting us all in the same box. I'm in a box by myself. Well, you could put me in a box with Garvey. You could put me in a box with Amos Wilson. You could put me in a box with Frederick Douglass. But I just don't go around giving lectures. I'm trying to build something. Brothers and sisters, if you ever need to reach out to me, add me on WhatsApp. You can communicate with me directly on WhatsApp. I'm going to give you the phone number. Okay? Everybody ready? This is my cell number. Y'all have to put the country code, which I believe is a 001, right? To America. Add me on WhatsApp. A lot of folks have already done. We've been communicating since I've been here. My phone number is 215-989-9858. I repeat, 215-989-9858. I repeat, 215-989-9858. Add me on WhatsApp. Some of y'all say y'all been emailing me. You ain't heard back. That's because I get 100 emails a day. Okay? You're not going to hear back if you're waiting for that. WhatsApp me and say, Dr. Umar, I sent you an email about my son. This is the email address. Can you check it and get back to me? I don't have time to check my emails every day. I get too many. Okay? You have to understand, I'm one of the only people that black parents have on the planet to get some honest feedback about when it comes to their children. So you can't be emailing me today expecting a response tomorrow. Okay? But if you WhatsApp me, you'll get a response a whole lot quicker because I'm always on my cell phone. So add me on WhatsApp and we can chat that way. Okay? Last thing before I get into this AIDS presentation that I want to cover tonight, I need everybody to sign this list right here. When I get back to America, I'm going to add you into a massive email database. So every time something's going on with me and the Pan-African movement, you will know about it. When the registration is ready for the Pan-African 70th anniversary in Manchester, you will know about it. I'm also taking my second group trip to Africa, July of 2015. Raise your hand if you've never been to Africa. If you've never been home, raise your hand. It's about half of you, okay. There's a lot of people who do trips. It don't matter who you go with. But I want you to consider going back to Africa with me, okay? We took our first group trip in July. It was beautiful. We went to Ghana. We also spent a day or two in Morocco, Casablanca. Okay, we're going back. This time we'll be in South Africa. We're going to visit the Nelson Mandela gravesite. We're going to visit the Mandela Museum, Robben Island, where the political prisoners were kept. We're going to go to Soweto and pay respect to the young children who were murdered in 1976 for protesting the government's attempt to force them to learn their education in the white man's tongue instead of their native Zulu and Xhosa. There's a museum erected in Soweto for that purpose. Okay, we're also going to go to Durban, Shaka Zulu's grave and kingdom. Steve Biko, we're going to try to get a meeting with Steve Biko's wife, and we're also trying to get a meeting with Queen Mother Winnie Mandela, face-to-face, a chat and chew with the Queen. Okay? Me and her get together, you know it's popping. She ain't scared and I ain't scared. Most of y'all scared as hell. Okay? And then we're going to go to Ethiopia, but now we're thinking about going to Eritrea. Because I met some brothers and sisters last night who were Eritrean. We had a nice sit down with them, Shahida and I and others. And so we're thinking about doing Eritrea instead of Ethiopia. Okay, visit, you know, that's the original birthplace of man. That's where God laid us down at. So we want to take you to the National Museum, visit the cathedral, so forth and so on. Then we come over to Ghana for the Pan-African Festival. Every other year in Ghana, they have a Pan-Fest, where Pan-Africanists come from around the world. We're going to visit the slave dungeons, get you some African clothes made, take a boat ride on the biggest river, man-made river in West Africa, visit the Prempeh Museum, Elmina Slave Dungeon, Cape Coast Slave Dungeon, Slave River, where our ancestors were forced to wash before they got on the big boat and headed off to the Caribbean. So if you've never been to Africa, think about going with us in July. All that information you will get by way of email. If you're on social network, you can add me at Dr. Umar Ifatunde, I-F-A-T-U-N-D, Dr. Umar Ifatunde. That's the page on Facebook, 35,000 likes. Those other pages are false. They belong to the FBI, the CIA, and MI6. Okay, there's a lot of Umar Johnsons with my face. I do not run those pages. Those are fraudulent. Umar Ifatunde is the page. Twitter, Dr. Umar Johnson. Instagram, Dr. Umar Johnson. Email Dr. Umar Johnson at Yahoo. But if you didn't get all of that, WhatsApp me, and I'll get back at you. You need to say that? Okay. So everybody's going to sign this. Name, email, phone number. Also, I want you to sign it for that reason primarily, but secondarily, we need to start the Rotterdam National Independent Black Parent Association chapter. I want all y'all to be a part of this. Yes. Even if you don't have children, you need to be a part of this because it takes a village. 7 committees. Special ed to investigate the special ed fraud in Rotterdam. How many black boys up here are being told they have learning disabilities and they have ADHD and they're autistic when they're not? Even though autism is real, a lot of our boys get misdiagnosed with it. How many of you parents don't know what to do when the school wants your child to be tested for special classes? And then another committee on school discipline. How often are our boys being sent out of the classroom, suspended from school, denied an education, and expelled altogether? We got to organize and fight that. I know it happens because I got a message on WhatsApp yesterday from a brother from Rotterdam asking me, can I help him because his child is keep being sent out the class. So I know it's happening. 3rd committee, school policy, to change the rules in Rotterdam that negatively affect our children. What am I talking about? Your daughter lives on the east side of Rotterdam. You want her to go to school on the west side of Rotterdam, but the school says she can't. She got to go to school in her neighborhood. Some of y'all been through this. We can change that. That's a policy change. Organized parents can change things. And no, you ain't got to talk about race because I know y'all not comfortable about that yet. Y'all ain't caught up with the rest of the world over here. Y'all don't like making white folks uncomfortable yet in the Netherlands, I learned. Y'all need time. I'm not going to rush it. And then another committee on social support. We got to support our single mothers. We got a lot of good single moms and dads and grandparents doing the best they can, but they need help, y'all. We got to wrap our hands around it. What happened to the whole community looking out for everybody? What happened to that? We got to go back to that. We need a committee that goes around and does an inventory on all the mothers and what their needs are. Do they have food for their children? Do we need to do a clothing drive? Do we need to raise some money to help them pay for their rent? That's what I'm about. I'm about helping people, not pimping people. So some of y'all might want to be with the social support committee. And then we need to have a finance committee to track the money in the schools and see where it's going. Some of y'all want to run after school programs to help our kids with their reading and their math, and you can't find money, but the school district in Rotterdam saying they spending X amount of euros to help kids, and you don't see it. Who getting that money? And when's the last time a black person had a contract to provide supplemental services for Rotterdam's children? When the last time a black person had a contract to clean the bathrooms out? Who has the contract to put the video cameras in? Who has the contract to drive the buses, provide the lunch? All these things are jobs. Why are you not at the table? But to be at the table, you have to show up to the school board meetings that black parents don't like to go to. That's when decisions are made. You need to be there. The white folks are there. You're not. Next committee, homeschool. To organize the parents who want to homeschool their children. Because some of you who claim you homeschool ain't doing nothing but homefooling the hell around with them babies. Wasting their time. They're not learning nothing. They're home watching TV. White cartoons and Black Pete cartoons. We got to organize y'all and do it together. She homeschooling, she could be the math teacher. He want to homeschool, he could do science on Tuesday. She got math on Wednesday. She got African language on Thursday. I do white supremacy Sunday afternoon. after church. Get that white Jesus out their head that y'all keep letting get bread into them all day long. White Christ, worshiping your oppressor. And why does white Jesus matter? It matters a lot. Because no free people ever worship their God in the image of anyone but themselves. That's just psychology 101. You raise a black child with a white Jesus, they will naturally become subservient in the presence of white folk, not even understanding why. It wasn't the school that did it. Mommy and daddy raised me on white supremacy in the form of Jesus Christ. It does matter. So everybody got a homework assignment tonight. When you go home, if you got a cracker Christ on the wall, take it down and burn the shit. That's your homework for the night. Okay? Bring your African mind tonight. All right? Last committee, parent advocacy. I think I haven't. Parent advocacy. I need some of y'all to be advocates for other parents. If he got to go to a school meeting about his son, she should be with him. She got to go to a meeting about her son, he should be with her. He got a meeting about his daughter, she should be with him. You never go to a school meeting by yourself. Are you following me? You never go to the school by yourself. You're talking to a principal and a psychologist. The worst thing you can do is show up to a meeting about your child with nobody to witness the conversation. Stop doing that, black parents. You mothers keep going up there by yourself. They bully you. They intimidate you. They manipulate you. They lie on you. They sign your signature on papers you didn't even sign. But you have nobody to say it didn't happen. Fathers as well. You go to the school with another brother or go with the mother. And parents, make sure y'all on the same page before you go to the school meeting. Because if y'all not on the same page, they're going to manipulate and bounce y'all off of each other and end up getting exactly what they want. Nothing's more trifling than a black mother and black father arguing in front of white school people. You're talking to a principal. It's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Y'all up here airing all y'all dirty personal stuff when it's supposed to be about the child in front of your oppressor. And be careful of the black people who work in the schools because they work for them, not for you. I don't care if they got dashikis on. I don't care if their hair is locked. I don't care how many African languages they can name. I don't care if they do yoga, meditation, vegan food. That don't mean nothing when it comes to paying their bills. They will sell you down the drain for their paycheck. It happens in America all the time. You go to a meeting and the white folks surround you and bully you. And when they think they got you where they want you, they send in Queen Mother Coochie Chocolate. And she come in with a big dashiki smelling like frankincense and shea butter and Somali rolls and cocoa. And now you feel like you got to do what the school want because she's an elder in the community. She helped raise me. She said my son needs this medicine. How can I tell Queen Mother Coochie Chocolate no? Because that's your damn son. You better tell her no. Our boys don't need drugs. They need love. So how funny that was? Yeah. One person clapped, the rest of y'all was scared as shit to clap. Scared ass black people. Scary as hell. I just get on my nerves, I ain't telling that. Scared as hell, I can't even clap. Hey, they got y'all. Woo. Brothers and sisters, we're not against nobody, y'all, but before ourselves. Okay? We're not against nobody, but before ourselves. And we unapologetically for ourselves. Okay? Now, AIDS and Ebola. When we was in Africa coming back from the tour, the Ebola outbreak hit while we were still in Africa. We was in Morocco, Casablanca, waiting for the flight back. Boom, it hit on the TV. Ebola outbreak. What was so interesting about the Ebola outbreak that hit in late July, early August? The interesting thing about the Ebola outbreak was while the Ebola outbreak hit, all the leads of African countries, all the presidents were in Washington, D.C. with President Obama having a Let's Make Africa Better conference. Wow. Y'all think that's a coincidence? Obama brings all the African presidents to D.C., and while they in D.C. meeting with some man who has absolutely no power to make no decision, boom, Ebola World Health Organization runs in. They're giving out shots, vaccinations to protect our brothers and sisters from catching Ebola. Really? You never heard about the research that the World Health Organization did when they gave homosexuals in LA and New York smallpox vaccination, and within 5 years, everybody they gave it to came up HIV positive? Bill Gates is in Africa right now talking about he wants to improve health care for black folks. Do you realize Bill Gates' father used to work with Margaret Sanger on the American eugenics movement? The woman who invented the abortion clinics, Planned Parenthood. Bill Gates' father and her were teammates. Bill Gates' father used to be the head of Planned Parenthood in America. I'm giving you science. You ain't got to believe nothing I say. Go do your research. I'm not used to people like me coming to tell you the truth. They're like people come to entertain you. I'm not no damn entertainer. I'm a revolutionary. Y'all better be careful about what y'all put in y'all arms. Stop taking these immunizations that the Dutch keep on giving y'all. Y'all elders, that flu shot, stop it. It's cancer all in that damn flu shot. You don't need nobody's flu shot. You've been doing just fine. Do you realize they put a little bit of the flu in you to inoculate you against it? Does that make any sense? They got to give you a little bit of the flu so your body can develop a resistance to it. So when you meet the flu in real life, you can fight it off. Whatever. I guess you'll take the AIDS shot when that come out. We're going to give you a little bit of AIDS. Y'all believe anything white folks tell you. Crazy as hell, black folks. All we done been through, still trusting everything white people say. I don't do no damn shots. I don't do basketball shots, whiskey shots, and I damn sure ain't doing no arm shots. I took my daughter to the pediatrician, talking about, yeah, we got to give your daughter her flu shot. Not this baby. We don't do them. My youngest baby, 3 years old, she's not immunized and she ain't going to be immunized. Our kids don't need those immunizations. Stop putting everything in your baby's arm. They're killing us. There's research coming from the Food and Drug Administration that shows the vaccinations that they give to black folk, not just in America, but all around the world, because most of that stuff is coming from the FDA and the World Health Organization. It's tainted with chemicals. They're giving y'all time-release cancer, time-release heart disease, time-release stroke. Why would the people trying to get rid of you help you live? Brothers and sisters, the reason Ebola is in America is because AIDS is not working fast enough. Let me say it again. The reason Ebola is in America is because AIDS is not killing Africans fast enough. President Jimmy Carter, 1980. Do your research. Don't believe me. He signed an executive order called Global 2000, which was supposed to reduce the population of Africans in the world by 50% by the year 2000. Read Secretary of State Henry Kissinger's report, National Security Memorandum 200, which dealt exclusively with population control and said we should teach sex education in the school to curb the black birth rate. Sex education in 1974 became homosexual education in 2014. You ain't got to believe me. The documents is there. But there's a problem with the population group. They got Planned Parenthood, abortion, started to eliminate black babies. And by the way, I want everybody to hear me. We kill more black babies in the womb than we do on the corner.
Reach.
More black children are killed inside of their mother than all the brothers on the corner put together. Abortion is the #1 killer of young black men, not the gun. You ain't got to believe me. Do your research. And why did Margaret Sanger invent Planned Parenthood? What was the original name of Planned Parenthood? The Negro Project. Did you know that? Don't believe me? Go to the library. The purpose of the Negro Project was to eliminate all unwanted black babies. Margaret Sanger said, we are doing a duty to God and civilization by getting rid of these niggas. Then they come up with AIDS, a disease that selectively looks for cells that have a high concentration of melanin pigmentation in the inside. The research is coming from the FDA. that AIDS looks for cells with melanin in the inside. Isn't it amazing that a disease they said was for gay white men? In 1980, AIDS was for gay white men. So how is it in 2014 it's the #1 killer of black heterosexual women on the face of the earth? The white man keeps outthinking black folk. They doing the same thing with Ebola, bringing it to Europe, making you think it's multicultural. They're giving Ebola to Chinese and Ebola to East Indian and Ebola to white folk and Ebola to Latino, making you think it's not a racially devised disease, but how much you want to bet 10 years from now? Ebola is the #1 killer of black women too. And why you, sister? Because you are the birth. You're the birther of African life. If they can pollute your damn womb, they can get rid of a lot of black life. And that's why in Africa, Obama gives permission for abortion money to be given to black women so they can get 4 hysterectomies. They paying black women in South Africa $500 to get their reproductive system taken out, and you want to know why we can't get along with white folks. It's something else, black woman. Stop drinking tap water. Tap water got fluoride in it. Fluoride will give you a natural abortion. Stop drinking the tap water when you're pregnant. Stop getting perms in your hair when you're pregnant. Those chemicals seep right through the brain-blood barrier. It will get into your child's bloodstream and cause autism. Now your child is slow because you want to look like a white woman. I'm giving you the facts. I didn't fly 5,000 miles to be your friend. Them tickets ain't cheap. I flew 5,000 miles to tell your ass the truth. And you can love me or hate me, but one day you're going to wake up and say, damn, Doc was right. Sisters, be careful, because the #1 cause of new transmission of AIDS is bisexual black men. Ladies, be careful up here in Rotterdam. Some brothers on the down low, and they don't want to tell you that they're dealing with men. I know because I'm a therapist. They confess to me. I get emails of black men confessing to me, Dr. Umar, you're the only one I think I can talk to. I'm gay, and I don't know how to tell my woman who I used to be gay, and I want to tell her I'm not no more. Sisters, be careful. You're dealing with a brother, and he got more shape than you, more chitlin than cheese. Run! Some of y'all dealing with these metrosexual brothers. They're not gay, but they're real feminine. Their eyes is longer than yours, the lashes is when they get their nails done. Leather skinny jeans, 2-inch high heel pumps. Come in the house floating. He accidentally put on your underclothes, ladies, be careful. He screamed louder than you when y'all being romantic, be careful. He like coming to the back door instead of the front door, be careful. He can only climax in the back door instead of the front door, he's gay, run. Some of y'all sisters act like y'all don't know something that's weird with the man you dealing with. He done shaved his damn eyebrows off with long eyelashes, 2 inches long, talking about, I don't know if he gay yet. I'm not knocking the gay brother. I'm saying my straight sisters need to be careful not to end up in a bisexual relationship because black men ain't comfortable with that identity. But I don't beat them up, though. I do therapy with homosexual black men, so I do. I'm one of the only people they can come and talk to, so when y'all be running around talking about I'm a homophobic, how the hell can Umar Johnson be homophobic when he does therapy with homosexuals? And why do I do therapy with homosexuals even though I'm against homosexuality? Because I don't want to see my brothers killing themselves whether they're gay or not. Black men who are gay have one of the highest suicide rates in the world. I exist to heal people. I don't exist to kill people. My clients know I don't support the behavior, but I'm going to work with you because I don't want you hurting yourself or hurting nobody else. Y'all don't know me. Y'all let other people tell you about Umar Johnson. But when your kid in trouble, I'm the only person you can call who can give you the right answer. When it comes to trying to make things better for black folk, I'm one of the only people you know out there grinding hard. I ain't got to do that. I got 6 college degrees, all from white people's schools. I can fall back and get rich, misdiagnosing black kids with bullshit white people made up. But that's not my heart. I refuse to be a bourgeoisie member. Some of y'all bourgeoisie members in here looking at me all tanked. Because I'm not going along with the program of the master, the gate. Don't give a damn about a bourgeois. I can't stand bourgeois Negroes. And they don't like me either. By 2005, the number of people living with AIDS reached its highest level, 40 million Africans, y'all, with AIDS in 2005. 95% of people with AIDS live in black countries. It's the #1 killer worldwide for 15 to 59-year-old people. $7 billion is spent on AIDS medicine. And let me be clear, the medicine kills you more than the disease. Did y'all know that? What's the #1 drug they use for AIDS? AZT. The research from America's university shows that AZT will destroy the immune system much more quicker than AIDS will kill the virus. Nation of Islam, Final Call, had an article 2 years ago talking about how most black people die from the medicine you take for the disease, not the disease. Some of y'all elders on high blood pressure medication, epilepsy medication. Go and see Dr. Sadie. Go and see Dr. Lila Africa. Go and talk to Dr. Scott Whitaker. Try something natural for a change. Them drugs are killing you. You take one drug for the problem, and then you got to take 50 more for the side effects. Come on, y'all. And stop being an organ donor on your driver's license. If any of you are an organ donor, take your name off of that list. When you are an organ donor, that means if you need a body part, you can kill me. Black organs is one of the top underground markets in the world. People will pay millions of dollars for a black heart, black kidney, black liver, black spleen. How can you afford to be an organ donor? In America, do you think these young black men that are dying every day are being killed by other black men? Cops are killing black men. We even got the evidence in Chicago to prove it. There was an article in AP that showed the cops was leaving machine guns on the subways in Chicago. This is bigger than black on black crime. You really think you got hundreds of fresh, young black male bodies, 18 to 25, good heart, good kidney, good liver, good spleen. You think they putting them in the ground with are they organs? Are you crazy? They see you, they see all types of body parts they can use. Rich white person need a heart? You think they're going to wait till you die? No. All your body parts are cataloged. That's right. That's why they draw blood when you go to the doctor. Find out exactly what type of blood you got, which gives them a good read on the type of organs you got. And if somebody need a body part of yours, next thing you know, you coming out the party 2 o'clock in the morning, you get hit by a drunk driver. Only problem was it wasn't a drunk driver. It was an organized hit for organs. In America, over 5,000 black people go missing every year. 5,000, never to be found from again. Ain't got nothing to do with no kidnaps and nothing to do with no homicide. The government is stealing black people off the street. Did you ever hear about the Atlanta child murders? When they found over 300 black preschool and infant fetuses in a dumpster around a corner from the FDA with their pineal gland snatched out? That wasn't no killer. That was the government doing research on black folk. They're trying to find a way to synthesize the melanin because white folks ain't got enough of it. That's why they cloning. How can we create melanin artificially? They need black folks for research monkeys. That's why if you got family in jail, you better stay close to your relatives in prison. Stay close to them. Because guess where they go first when they need more black lab rats? They go right to the jail. And they'll go to your brother and cousin and say, we noticed you ain't had a visitor in 2 years. Nobody sent you no money in over 5 years. You hurting right now. Well, we got a research study. We got a new drug for prostate cancer. We want you to take this drug for a couple of months and see what the side effects are, and we'll give you 200 pounds. That's not a lot of money, but it is if you ain't never getting none. And now your brother signed off on that paper, take that medicine. Next thing you know, he get out of jail, can't have kids, and can't sue the government because they made him sign his name saying that if anything goes wrong, you cannot sue the government. Stay close to your incarcerated family and friends. Don't let them be research monkeys for the government. In Philadelphia, we have a prison called Holmesburg, notoriously used in the 50s and 60s for doing research on black men. They tested everything on brothers in Holmesburg. Did y'all hear about the Tuskegee syphilis experiment in America? Yes. Where they gave black men one of the worst strains of syphilis, a man-made disease, and told them they was treating them when they wasn't, let it go worse so they can see the long-term effects of syphilis. The United States government just gave the last survivors of the syphilis experiment a couple of dollars. Most of them was already dead. I don't want no damn money. You gave me a disease that destroys my life. I don't want no money. And now they got Ebola. Ebola worse than AIDS. Ebola will liquefy your organs. It's the most painful death known to man. And you out there getting flu shots and shit. You crazy. And if you do feel you need a shot, you better go to the white folks' neighborhood and get it. Don't get it in the black neighborhood. I'll tell you that right now, because all that stuff is tainted that's coming to you. This is why we need our own school. This is why I want to build the Fred Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, so we can teach our children agricultural science, how to dig up the ground, financial science, how to get rich without college. Teach them how to master real estate in the 9th grade. Your own business plan in the 10th grade. Your own stock portfolio, investment, multinational resource control in 11th grade. We talk about an education for sovereignty, not an education for servitude. Our kids ain't getting the education they need nowhere. I done been everywhere. Who speaks more than me around the world? Nobody. I done been everywhere. I done seen the schools. Some of them are good, but they're not giving our kids what they need. They're not giving our kids what they need. So we got to create the school that does it. Talking about your African-centered school and the girls coming to school with a Beyonce wig on their damn head. The hell is African-centered about that? Where did they say AIDS come from? A monkey in the Congo. Where did they say Ebola come? In fact, Ebola is named after the Ebola River in Africa.
1977, no?
They say a monkey gave the virus to a black woman. You gotta believe me, go to the library. That's what they'll tell you now. How did AIDS come into the world, Mr. White Man? Because a monkey passed it to a black woman. Really? But you can only get AIDS and Ebola through bodily fluid contact. So if a monkey gave a black woman AIDS, there's only one thing they could have done together for her to get that AIDS. You're trying to tell me that one of my ancestors slept with a damn chimpanzee? I'm giving y'all the facts. This is what they tell people. Anybody ever see the movie called Outbreak? Yeah. Watch it. It's about the Ebola outbreak situation. Yeah. In America, they put everything in the movie before they give it out to the world to desensitize white folks, so they don't have the civil unrest. Yep, everything. Hurricane Katrina was in the movies before it actually happened. Everything they do is in the movies first. In fact, if you go to Africa, the definition for AIDS is different in Africa than it is in the rest of the world. Did you know that? To be diagnosed with AIDS in Africa, you must have 10% loss of body weight, high fever, and diarrhea. If you have those three symptoms together, you will be diagnosed with AIDS. Now, most of us know that if you get a real bad cold or a flu, you'll lose a couple weight. Your body temperature will go up, and Lord knows you'll have the runs, but you ain't got no damn AIDS. But in Africa, the diagnosis of AIDS is totally different than it is in Europe and the States on purpose. Why? They want more people to be diagnosed with the disease than actually have it, because it feeds drug profit. AIDS is medicine. Ebola is medicine. Same thing with this damn ADHD stuff. The diagnosis is money. This is the DSM-5, brothers and sisters. This wasn't out when I came in January. It's out now. The new diagnostic manual. Everything we diagnose you and your children with come right out of this. Schizophrenia, bipolar, ADHD, retardation, learning this. This is the book. Everything in here equals money. The minute I diagnose you with this, I get paid. I bill your health insurance. This is a hustle right here. It ain't helping nobody. The diagnoses are made simple on purpose to get as many people misdiagnosed as possible, because the more misdiagnosis, the more profits for Wall Street. Come on, y'all. Remember, whenever problems are created for black folks, there's also an economic stream opened up to pimp that problem. You miseducate children, you can get paid off of it. You lock black men in jail, you can get paid off it. You misdiagnose black people with AIDS, you can get paid off of it. You got some people running around telling AIDS don't exist. Ebola, that's a damn lie. AIDS and Ebola exists. One of my good friends, Dr. Jack Felder in New York City, who was a good friend to the late great Dr. Amos Wilson, the only psychologist I'm gonna put above myself, who's now with the ancestors, okay? Who they killed in the hospital because Amos Wilson was the most progressive scholar of modern times. He didn't just worship Egypt and want to keep talking about what happened 5,000 years ago. He was trying to create systems and institutions for black folk. All y'all need to go on YouTube, y'all YouTubers, and stop looking for what people found out that I said and twisted it up. Go look at some Dr. Amos Wilson documentary. Read his books, Blueprint for Black Power. Read his books, Garveyism in the Age of Globalism. Read his books, The Developmental Psychology of the Black Child. Read his books, Awakening the Natural Genius of Black Children. Dr. Amos Wilson, the greatest black psychologist and greatest scholar of the modern age, a Garveyite just like myself. But Dr. Jack Felder was a chemist who did work with the government. He wrote a whole book on AIDS. AIDS is real, y'all. But the test they give you for AIDS does not test you for AIDS. When you go to the clinic to take an AIDS test, they're giving you an AIDS antibody test. It doesn't test for the disease. It tests for the antibodies that any one of you can have in your system because you're exposed to it every day, but your immune system flushes it out within a couple of days. Do you realize that AIDS is the first test in modern history where you get tested positive for the disease just because you have the antibody? The antibody is not the disease. That's why when you take the AIDS test, they make you sign a piece of paper, a waiver, saying that if you find out later if you got the disease, you can't sue the government for giving you a false positive. Everybody remember Magic Johnson, don't you? In 1991, they told us Magic Johnson had AIDS. Have you seen how fat Magic is? Do he look like he got no damn AIDS symptoms? Magic Johnson ain't have AIDS. Magic Johnson had an antibody test that was found out to be later incorrect. Enforced by the government to keep his mouth shut. Because if Magic would have went public and said the test they gave me that diagnosed me with AIDS was wrong, every black person diagnosed with AIDS will be looking for another test. Do you know how much money Wall Street would lose? Would y'all please wake up and stop letting your oppressor outthink you on the chessboard? We're being outthought by white folk. They're not better than us. They just think better than us. Who's this white man on the back of this book? His name is Benjamin Rush. He's on the back of every diagnostic manual of the American Psychiatric Association. Who was he? One of America's great white supremacists. What did he do? He used to diagnose black slaves with a disease called nigritude. Wow. He said nigritude was a disease that rendered the brain of the African totally useless. The IQ was less than a chimpanzee or a gorilla. He told white people, don't rub up against black people or you will catch nigritude through their skin color. Don't believe me. I'm sure y'all got libraries around here. I know what I'm saying is the truth. It's for some of y'all looking at me like you're looking at Jesus. What is he going to say next? You need shock treatment. I came here to shock your ass up because you sleep. Had a Negro send me an email. Dr. Johnson, I agree with everything you said, but I think you need to change your tone. Like you come on, it's so strong, it might scare people. Let me ask you a question. If your house catches on fire, God forbid that happens to anyone. If your house catches on fire and your brother sleep on the couch, are you going to go and touch him? Or are you going to smack the shit out of him and say, we got to go, the house burning down? We at war, I ain't got time to be nice. Yeah. Scary shit, come on. I'm going to begin to bring this to a close in the next 10 minutes because I want to give you an opportunity to ask me a couple of questions. But just so we clear, today is part one. This is when I talk to you. We'll do a couple questions today, but today ain't for that. Tomorrow is the conversation. Tomorrow at 7, we're going to show Hidden Colors for a little bit. Mostly you've seen it. I have it for sale in the back if you need a copy. We'll show a little bit of Hidden Colors for maybe about an hour, but y'all can watch that on your own. Okay? You don't need to be watching that when you got me. So we're going to do an hour of Hidden Colors or so, and then it's going to be a community conversation, dialogue. That's your chance to ask me anything you want. Okay? Education, Pan-Africanism, what's going on in America, conscious community, the school in Africa. Tomorrow is your chance to talk to me. Okay? So spread the word. Let other folks know about tomorrow. That's going to be the conversation. That'll be my last event before I head back. What's 3?
Starts at 3.
Oh, I'm sorry. 3 o'clock. 3 to 7 tomorrow. Okay? Tomorrow afternoon, 3 to 7. Not 7 p.m. My bad. I was posting the wrong time. 3 to 7. That's my ADHD. Okay? 3 to 7. But no drugs. I got 6 degrees. I ain't never been on no medicine, and your son don't need medicine. Stop letting these white folks tell you your son needs drugs in order to get an education. It's totally nonsense, okay? Totally nonsense. Now, what I want to do, I want to fast forward a little bit. Here we go. First known case of AIDS in a human occurred in a person who died in the Congo. Others dispute that this was a disease the person had or whether the disease is even of African origin. Where does AIDS and Ebola really come from? Now, the white man said it came from monkeys in Africa who slept with black women. Okay? Where does it really come from? United States Army Biological Weapons Lab. Do your research on the United States Army Biological Weapons Lab. It's still there. I'll be in Maryland for Kwanzaa, Tuesday, December 30th. It's still there. You can't go in. You get top security clearance. That's where they invented AIDS, Ebola, West Nile, bird flu. And check this out. Half the cancers black people get was invented. Half the cancers black people get were invented. Biological weapons. Kill people without guns. You just use disease. They've been doing it since the beginning of time. In America, we just got finished celebrating Thanksgiving. How disrespectful. Do you know Thanksgiving was a dinner that they had with the Native Americans and poisoned the food and killed them by the thousands and then went on a killing spree after that? And black folks celebrating that? Are you crazy? Y'all celebrating Christmas. Ain't nothing wrong with that if you want to celebrate the life of Christ, but I don't know how you got it remixed into a white man and they're remixed into a damn spending spree. You need to be saving that money. Do your children got life insurance if you die? Your children got a trust fund when they grow up so they can take care of themselves? All this money you spending on Christmas, does your child have an economic foundation before you go running out buying sneakers and video games and cell phones, half the garbage they don't even want to use after 2 months? Tell me I'm wrong. I'm a psychologist. I study Negro behavior patterns. Y'all the most interesting thing to study in the world. I don't want to study cats, dogs. I want to look at black folks. And there's nothing better than looking at a black folk around a bunch of white folks. We the most uncomfortable people. We change the way our voice sounds. We change the way we talk. Change the way we dress. White folks don't change nothing when they come around you. But when you get around there, you got to stand up straight. I got to sit like this. You got to eat with 3 forks instead of 1 inch. Nah, I like who I am. I don't want to be nobody else. I'm glad God made me an African. I'm totally content with myself. I don't care what the world think about me. I better raise your children to be the same way. Be self-reliant. Stop determining what they think about themselves by looking at other people. That ain't no way to exist in the world, especially on the bottom. How in the hell can you be on the bottom worried about what the people on the top think? Come on. We're celebrating 100 years of Garveyism this year, brothers and sisters. 100 years since His Excellency Marcus Messiah Garvey gave us the largest black organization of modern time. Let me flip. Here we go. Center for Disease Control of the World Health Organization defines AIDS in Africa: prolonged fever for a month or more, weight loss of 10%, and prolonged diarrhea, and you got AIDS in Africa. And guess what? Half the people they saying got AIDS and Ebola in Africa don't even have it. I got family on the ground. You know what they're doing? They poisoning the water with all types of chemicals. The people coming to the hospital sick, and they diagnosing them with AIDS and Ebola so they can quarantine them. Contain and separate, like jail, so the white man could go in and take their property. There's a new land grab for Africa, brothers and sisters. White folks and Chinese trying to buy the whole damn Africa up. Now, some of y'all going to say, well, isn't it true that you can't own land in most African countries? That's true. But all they do is get a 99-year lease, like Firestone did in Liberia. A 99-year lease, and when the 99 years run out, they renew the damn 99-year lease. It's the same thing. White folks running all over Africa. Chinese people too. Asians, Arabs, everywhere I go. Somebody else is running the economy of black folks. And the whole Africa looking at us. What's going on with our brothers and sisters in Europe and Canada and the United States? What's up with the Western Hemisphere African? Why are they not coming back to give us a hand? We the reason Africa messed up. We are. Your money you spending on Christmas, that should be getting invested in Africa. That money we spending on Christmas, we should be building schools and banks, hospitals in Africa, and then going there to help run it. We the solution to Africa's problems. We got the training and the money, but we too in love with white folks to look at the real problem. Here we go again. Everybody was scared as shit to clap again, but one brother did it 10 times, and they can say, nah. And a white person here, they still control you. They're not even in the room. That's white supremacy. They ain't even got to be here and you scared of them. I'm not asking you to be reckless. I'm not asking you to lose your job. I'm not asking you to take on the whole Netherlands. But I am asking you to be a man and a woman about your shit. That's the least I can expect. How are our kids going to grow up to be strong fighters and soldiers and stand their ground when their mommy and daddy scared of every white person who say boo? Magic Johnson was told he got AIDS. Magic ain't got no AIDS. January 31st, 1999, they said that study suggests that a chimpanzee was passed to humans in Africa. And that's how AIDS came into the world. World Health Organization estimates that 15 to 20% of new AIDS cases are the result of blood transfusion. That's another thing. Be careful if you're giving blood. Be very careful if you're giving blood. Because in America, people go and give blood, and they find out a couple months later they got AIDS. They're putting stuff in them while they're taking stuff out of them. Please be careful, brothers and sisters. If you need to give blood to a friend or a family, that's all right. If you want to donate your organs, put it in your will. If I die, if one of my loved ones or friends or a member of my community need my organs, so be it. But don't say you can donate my body to research so white folks can fuck with your pineal gland and shit. You don't want to be giving your body over to research. What black person in a right mind would tell white people, when I die, you can do whatever you want with my carcass? Are you crazy? So they can come up with more biological diseases. Well, that's where AIDS come from, studying dead black bodies. I die, you give my body parts to my family and my friends. As long as they don't owe me no money, we all right. All right. Black women, 23 times more likely to get AIDS than white women. Black women, this is another reason why you need not to be involved with a man who has some sort of a fetish. CIA. The CIA. Okay? But sisters, this is why you need to be careful about dealing with brothers who are into non-traditional forms of intimacy. Okay? Because your rectum is a direct route to your bloodstream. That's why when little kids go to the doctor, a lot of the early shots, whether they give it to them, and they rectum, because it goes right into the blood. You don't need no man, don't no freaky stuff with you. That stuff is not African anyway. Okay? There's only one place on your body that's made for relations. Everything else is not. But the white man has sexually objectified the whole black man's body. Every part of your body is an occasion for sex. Your breast, your butt, your nose, mouth, ears, eyeballs. Okay? Sisters, if you're freaky, run. You don't need that in your life. Okay? And then the relationship ends, and now you feel like you was just totally exploited because you did every kinky thing that this man wanted you to do, and you're not even his wife. Save something for marriage, black woman. Yeah. In fact, my next book I'm working on is for sisters. Guess what the name of the book is? Thirsty. Because some of y'all thirsty as hell. Close your mouth and stop looking so greedy in the presence of a man that you're attracted to, because you'll never get the man you want if your ass is thirsty. You want some water, go get some damn ice water and close your mouth. Thirsty ass sisters. That book gonna come out. That's probably gonna make enough money to build a school. Watch. And I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be mad that Thirsty gets the school bill and not psychoacademic households. That's how trifling we is. Every last one of y'all gonna buy Thirsty. What do you do when your man cheats? Well, the first thing you better do is think about whether you staying in a relationship or leaving, black woman. Worst thing you can do is tell a man who cheated that you didn't like he cheated, but you're not going to do nothing about it. Because now you just gave him permission to cheat some more. So before you go cursing your boyfriend out and snapping your damn head sideways, are you going to be back in that bed tonight? Because if you are, you just gave him your permission to keep on doing it. So don't be lying to no man talking about I'm leaving you if you cheat again, because he knows you. He sleeps with you. He knows you. He knows you're not going nowhere. If you're too weak and ain't got the self-esteem to walk out, be quiet. I'm going to give it to you real in my book. My book is for strong women. If you want to blame men for your problems, don't read my book. But if you're a strong woman, say, listen, I don't know how to master this, you read my book. First thing you do is stop trying to negotiate with your emotions. Do you realize you're hurting me? You don't spend no time. You cheating. Your baby mom is always in your car. You'll never get what you want because you're coming from a position of weakness. Sister, you have equal power in the relationship. Use your authority. Stop trying to persuade him with tears. That don't work. That's weakness. And I'm going to do a little book for your daughters too. It's called Puppy Love. Relationships are given from young African sisters because they learn from y'all mothers how to do it wrong. Like staying in domestically abusive relationships. Don't let no man put his hands on you, black woman. You get up, you pack, you walk. Don't even fight him back. Get up, you pack, you walk. Same thing with you brothers. You find out the sister doing something that you don't approve of, ain't no time for no argument. Pack and you walk. The self-respecting person will pack and walk. The person who ain't got the self-respect wants to stay and fight. If a man puts his hands on you once, ladies, he will put his hands on you again because the impulse to beat on women isn't something you just think of in the moment. You don't get mad and say, I'm a smacker. It don't work like that. That example is already in your subconscious and it'll happen again. What is the first rule of behavior? Whatever we do today, we're more likely to do tomorrow because the brain operates on patterns, which we call habits. And you sisters got to know when to walk. I know it's hard. You don't know where to go. I know it's hard. You don't want to take your kids from their father. I know it's hard. You love this man, but if you really love yourself and your children, you'll step. Because your daughter growing up in a house seeing her mother get beat on, that only teaches her to accept it. And your son growing up in a house seeing his mother get beat on only teaches him to be an abuser. A boy who comes from a home where his mother was beat is 8 times more likely to beat his own women. You're talking to a psychologist. I live this. And men, y'all need to keep y'all damn hands to yourself. Because I'm going to tell you what we need in Rotterdam right now. We need a damn ski mask club. Anybody ever see the movie The Purge? Raise your hand if you saw The Purge. So, you know what they did? Right? Once a year they would purge, right? Guess what we going to do? We're going to have a purge. Once a week, a ski mask club. Get a long list of niggas who need to be taken out. And we go around and we purge them. You don't know how to keep your hands off of our women? You get purged. You like playing with little kids? You get purged. You don't know how to pay the bills? Purge you too! That's how you keep people honest. You make people accountable. And our problem is we don't do a good job holding each other accountable. In conclusion, this PowerPoint I got, y'all, is like a 3-hour one. Most of my PowerPoints are, so I won't get a chance to go through it all tonight. But y'all get the point. Stop taking shots from white folks. Stop trusting white folks. Stop discussing Umar Johnson with white people. I don't know why y'all having conversations with me with Caucasians. Next time I find out one of y'all talking about me to white folks, I'm going to curse your ass out. And then I'm going to smack the shit out of you if you're a dude. Because I don't expect that from no man. No man should be discussing me with the white folks in the Netherlands. I'm not here for them. I'm here for y'all. All y'all taping, this better not end up with no white people. I ain't got to worry about that with you. And I don't think I got to worry about it with my brother over here, who fed me all that good food the other night. Okay? But, Kevin, I don't want it with no white folks. All right? I'm serious. Okay? But they put me on the no-fly list, and then I never come back. They got a lot of my brothers on the no-fly list in UK. A lot of brothers can't even come to the UK on the no-fly list. So I got to stop all that, especially for the people who fight for you. So in conclusion, brothers and sisters, where my sign-up list? Is it still going around? Who got it? Okay, don't worry, that don't go to white folks. That go home to America with me. Some of y'all are like, I'll put my name on here, will I lose my job? No, that stays with Dr. Johnson, okay? But in conclusion, I want to say it's always good coming to the Netherlands. This week is going so fast. I was in England last week. We did a tour of England. You know, I get a lot of love over there. We was in Birmingham, sold out. London, sold out. Wolverhampton, sold out. Luton was almost sold out. Manchester, sold out. Y'all ain't got as many black folk over here, you understand? So I don't expect y'all to be sold out. I'm very pleased with this, okay? This is good for the Dutch Netherlands. I'm going to leave with a quote from my ancestor, Frederick Douglass, who said, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess the faith of freedom and deprecate agitation are like men who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want the rain, but can't stand the thunder or the lightning. They want the ocean, but don't want to deal with the awful roar of the waves." He said the struggle we as African people have, it might be moral, or it might be physical, or it might be both moral and physical, but it must be a struggle. He said, "For 20 years I prayed on my knees to God for freedom, but the good Lord gave Frederick no freedom until I got up off my knees and started praying with my feet." He said that if you want respect from white people, why are you looking for pity? The man who pities you can never respect you, and the man who respects you doesn't have a need for pity. He said, "Men may not get everything they pay for in this world, but you must certainly pay for everything that you get. And the oppression that we suffer must be resisted with words or with blows or with both. But he who is whipped the easiest is whipped the most." He said, "But power conceives nothing without a demand. It never did and it never will." I want to call on my ancestors, as all of you should be calling on yours at home. I call on Father Bailey, the first of my ancestors brought to America from West Africa, put in Talbot County, Maryland in 1701. He married a black woman by the name of Selah. In 1745, they had a daughter by the name of Jenny. Grandma Jenny had Grandma Betsy in 1774, 2 years before Thomas Jefferson's Declaration of Independence. Grandma Betsy married a free black man, Grandpa Isaac. They had a daughter named Young Betsy, my great-great-great-great-great-grandma, who was raped by Aaron Anthony, the Irishman who owned our family. And as a result of that rape, she gave birth to Grandpa Stephen Henry Bailey. But then Grandma Betsy was snatched from Grandpa Stephen and sold deep into the woods of Mississippi, never to be heard from again. Grandpa Stephen grew up without his mother, under the care of Grandma Betsy with his cousin Frederick, who would escape from slavery at the age of 20, changed his name from Fred Bailey to Fred Douglass, and ended up becoming the greatest black leader of the 19th century. So much so that when Marcus Garvey started his Black Star Line steamship company, he named the first Black Star Line ship the SS Frederick Douglass, after my family. Grandpa Stephen married Grandma Caroline. She was also enslaved on the plantation. Their firstborn son was George Washington Bailey, my great-great-great-grandfather, who went on to become the first black public school teacher in Talbot County, Maryland after slavery. He married Grandma Annie. Grandma Annie was the niece of Bishop Alexander Wayman, the 7th bishop after Richard Allen in the African Methodist Episcopal Church. They had a daughter named Caroline. Caroline moved to Philadelphia after her parents died from Maryland. She had a daughter named Vivian. Vivian married a Spanish-speaking Cuban immigrant named Cicero, my Cuban great-grandfather. They had a daughter by the name of Ida. Grandmama Ida marries James Johnson. They have a son named Jamal, and Jamal marries Barbara. And on August the 21st, 1974, on the anniversary of the Haitian Revolution, the George Jackson assassination, the Nat Turner War, and the Fred Douglass Anti-Slavery Convention, a Leo son was born in Philadelphia. I don't care if you give your child religion. I don't have a problem with religion. I have a problem that we don't teach our kids who they come from. We come from God through our ancestors. We go back to God through our ancestors. Have you ever seen the double helix of the DNA under a microscope? It's shaped just like a chain. It binds us to every generation of our bloodline that existed before us. There's research that even shows your DNA affects your behavior and your consciousness. Our ancestors are with us. We are them. They are us. But if you never call on them, how can they help? Your great-grandmom died, but you never call her name. Your mama died, but you never call your name. Your daddy gone, but you never call her name. Your sons and daughters and nieces and nephews, they leave the world prematurely, and we never call their name. Do you know how much God power you got around you that you never tap into? But white folks call and they living dead all the time. Our kids are forced to learn about theirs. What about learning about their own heroes and sheroes for a change? Brothers and sisters, I close by saying we need a paradigm shift. And we also have to foster belief in ourselves again, because a lot of y'all are starting to think that black folk can't change the situation. A lot of us are starting to buy into the false illusion painted by white folks that they are in charge because God put us there and we are at the bottom and there's nothing we can do about it. Before we can change the world, we got to change ourselves. It all starts with the mind. I know God taking a long time, but the only reason why God taking a long time, because y'all taking a long time to use the God that's inside of you. If you want to change anything, it starts with yourself. I give you the story of Dr. George Washington Carver, a black man who was castrated as a child because the whites didn't want him to molest their white daughter. The greatest scientist of all time, first black man to get a doctorate degree in agricultural science from the state of Iowa. Booker T. Washington asks him to come to Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. He goes to Tuskegee, but he has no classroom, no apartment, no science lab. And he goes to Booker T. Washington and says, "Where's my lab? Where's my apartment?" Booker T. Washington said, "I'm sorry, I don't have nothing for you." This castrated black man, Dr. George Washington Carver, didn't complain. He went to the trash, read it in the book Up From Slavery. He went to the trash, and this black man dug in the trash of the students and pulled out metal, copper, aluminum, plastic, paper, tin, and from the garbage of students, this castrated black man gave us more than 500 products from the peanut with nothing. More than 300 products from the soybean with nothing. More than 200 products from the sweet potato with nothing. So stop being afraid and stop thinking we can't win. We'll win the minute you make up your mind that we're going to do it. We was not put here to serve white folks, and don't you dare go to sleep a night in your life thinking that's the way it's supposed to be. We're in the condition we're in because we allowed it to happen, and we're going to get out of it the minute we decide to make something happen. Ashe, ashe, ashe.
Thank you, Dr. Umar Johnson. Er is nu een gelegenheid om een vraag te stellen, dus wij zetten de mic hier. Stel je vraag. Sta op.
This is what we're going to do. Brothers coming up. We're going to take a maximum of 10 questions for the sake of time, because I want to give all you an opportunity to go to my merchandise table, and you better buy something. You want to know why you better buy something? Because we're trying to build a school for black children. You know why you better buy something? Because Dr. Umar came over here on his own dollar. And if you want to keep on seeing Dr. Umar coming over here, you better give to me like I give to y'all. My hotel, I paid for. My flight, I paid for. So if you want to keep on seeing me, you better show me the same love I show you. Or I go give it to Italy or Belgium or whatever else. But I did just get an invitation to Italy, though. I'll be going to Italy for the first time in about 2 months, so I'm looking forward to that. My brother, if you have a question, please get in line. I wanted to go quickly. If you have a question, get in line. No more than 10 people. 10 person, we will catch it. Go ahead, my brother.
Ja, wie een vraag heeft, moet nu in de rij staan, alsjeblieft.
Yes, Dr. Umar, your presentation was very powerful.
Thank you.
I'm glad to be here with all these wonderful people. And my question is, yeah, we heard in the news that Obama pretends to normalize the ties with Cuba. And we know the revolutionary Assata Shakur is there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my question is, the people in the United States, you have some people, they have contact with her. What they are doing to make sure that she's secure, that she maybe can leave the country, go somewhere else safely, that she won't be returned to the United States.
I'm hoping that President Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe arranges for a secret operation to bring our sister from Cuba to Zimbabwe. Because I believe, based on our mastery of history and military science, that it's only a matter of years before Cuba, if not in name, but in practice, will be a colony of the United States. If you notice, they're doing the same thing with Raul Castro. And I don't know how much Fidel is helping them. Maybe Fidel don't care no more. But they did the same thing with Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. If you remember, they relaxed the sanctions and the embargoes a year before they assassinated him. They gave him the impression that their attitude towards him was changing, only so he can drop his guard and they can move in with full force. I think they're going to do the exact same thing with Cuba. This isn't primarily being done for Assad. It's being done to take Cuba, because the white man never forgets.
Yes,
so Assad will be a cherry on top. So I'm hoping Gaddafi, he's the only African leader I know of who got the guts to extradite her to their country and not let America touch her. But she's intelligent, And I would suspect that our sister has already somehow communicated with him. And I'm going to hope and I'm going to pray, and I want all y'all to pray that our sister, who's an elder, almost 70 years old now, is not brought back to the hands of the Europeans. I'm hoping. Because I really do think that if they get her, they're going to try to kill her before she goes back to jail. So we got to get her out of there, and I'm hoping and working on that.
Yes, because the price was changed. First it was $1 million, now it's about 10 million. Yes. I think it's a matter of month. I think if we don't do nothing, if we don't do anything that.
You know what one of the problems is with getting her out of there? We don't own ships or planes. You understand? If we had a black airline, a black ship, black submarines, you could float a submarine over there anytime you want. Bring her on there and get it right over to Africa. White man wouldn't even know, but we don't own the means of distribution and transportation, and that's why she's stuck. But I'm hoping something happens. I think the Lord gonna look out for the system. I really do. And as far as black people go, I don't see how anybody can still support President Obama, knowing that this black man would actually allow the raising of the bounty on the head of a black elder, a female. Totally disrespectful. Not to mention he defended police brutality against black folks at the United Nations a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if y'all know this. Obama said we got a race problem, but we working on it. It's getting better. My daughters live in a better world than I live in. Excuse me. Yeah. But yeah, brother, we're going to keep running our prayers. We're going to keep running our prayers. Thank you for that.
Thank you. I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you.
As well. And I want to thank everybody for being here also, and the organization that brought you in. I have a question. I hope you can fill us in on a new documentary. What you're doing now is 7 a.m. Black people wake up.
Okay. I'm in the documentary.
Yes, I know.
Okay. And so it's coming out. I ain't seen it yet.
It's coming out.
I mean, I'm in a lot of documentaries. I'm in documentaries I didn't even know I was in. You know what I mean? But I don't have a problem with it. You know what I mean? It's good.
It's good, but can you talk about what's about?
I believe it's about the economic situation. I believe it's going to focus on the economics and how it's driving our condition. Okay, until you control your economics, you can't control your politics. I hope all of y'all know that. This is the reason why black elected officials do not serve a black agenda, because they're mostly put in office by white money. Until y'all start financing your own candidates, you'll never get political change. I'm hearing that's going to be strong. Okay, the brother Jason Black, who does it, who's doing it, you know, he's saying that it's really put well together. I'm on there. Dr. Claude Anderson's on there. You know what I mean? You got a lot of good folks, so I expect it to be a positive thing. I also expect his ass to write a fundraiser donation check too.
Also. All right, thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna start chasing down some of these documentary people who be making the documentaries with my name on it. Where's my damn money for my fundraiser? I'm going after people.
You ever seen Jason Black?
Have I ever seen him? I don't know. Okay? Tommy Sotomayor called me up and asked me that question, but he taped it without my permission, so I was a little upset with it. But the footage that he's using, I remember getting interviewed for it. I was in North Carolina speaking in Raleigh-Durham. So if he was the interviewee, I met him because I remember the person who interviewed me. I don't recall him saying his name was Jason Black. So whether he was Jason Black or whether he was working for Jason Black, I don't know. I get interviewed all the time. But I don't have a problem with him using my footage because people use my footage all the time. So how can I say I got a problem with him using it when everybody else uses it? If it's going to wake black folks up, if it's going to accomplish something, I don't have a problem with people using my information. So I look for it to be a good thing, but he does owe me a donation check. My sister.
Good evening. I have a question about education of a medical problem. There's a lot of people of us are having G6PD. I don't know if you know it.
Say that one more time.
G6PD. G6PD. Are you familiar with it?
G6PD.
Yeah. Are you familiar with it? It's a type of. Yes, it's
a condition.
Yes.
What about it?
Especially our people.
Not sickle cell, right? Something else.
No, but it's a sister. Yeah,
it's related to.
Yes, it's related to the sickle cell. Yes. Okay. And it's very important that we need to get educated about the things we eat because it's very it has so moeilijk. Yeah, it's got a lot of influence, bad influence. When we eat a lot of stuff and people know what it is, but if we don't educate ourselves to look good, so what we can't eat and what
yeah, we gotta do better on the food, no doubt.
Yes, because they're putting a lot of, they add a lot of vitamins and everything in the food.
And a lot of additives too.
Yes, and that's very bad for the health and everything.
I agree.
So I want to know if you already are busy with something like that.
I got some
Education
plans as it relates to the health, because one of my curriculums is dietary and nutritional health, in addition to the agricultural and agronomical health. So we got a whole piece coming out. I'm working with some farmers, some nutritional experts. We're going to have a real strong curriculum for our children when it comes to how to eat and live.
Yes.
We're working on that. And my school going to be 80% vegan. Some people said, why is your school not going to be 100% vegan? Because I can't be a hypocrite. I'm going to get some chicken once in a while. Damn that. Okay, I'm not eating grains and grass for the rest of my life. Once in a while, I'll eat a burger. So my school will be 80% vegan. But yes, ma'am, I'm working on it. I'm going to do some research and want you to share it too.
Okay, yes, I already written it down on the paper, so.
Okay. Yeah. WhatsApp it to me, because if you give me the paper, I might misplace it.
Okay.
Add me on WhatsApp, send it to me. Okay?
Okay, I will. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jerry, and I want to thank you for Mr. Dr. Umar Johnson.
Yes, sir.
For coming to Holland. And and my comment on my statement is that I'm very happy to see that some black people now they study white supremacy and racism, and for the first time I see that black people they talk about racism and white supremacy, not like somebody who don't know what racism is and what supremacy is, but I see now that you have a very deep understanding about racism and white supremacy, and in the past I didn't see black people talk about about racism and white supremacy, what it is, and now I see they have you have a deep understanding, and I'm very happy about that.
I appreciate that. If you don't understand white supremacy, it'll be difficult to understand anything else. You know, so one of the things I want to do at the school is make sure our children have a very thorough understanding of what white supremacy is. Kev, if you want to get the Q&A, you can. You want to get the Q&A?
No, I'm waiting for Sister Shahida.
Okay, no problem.
Ask her for
But I want to make sure our children have a thorough understanding of that. And I would also say that I'm not going to teach our children to hate white people and teach them about white supremacy. Okay? A lot of parents are scared of that. Are you going to teach hate? Honestly, you don't have to teach hate. Once black children come to see exactly what's going on, you're going to have to teach them how to control it. Okay? Because it's natural to hate the source of your oppression. But I won't directly teach that. Hate is an emotion. It hurts more than it builds. So I don't want our kids to hate white people. I want them to understand white people. Thank you for that. Queen.
Hi, I came from London because I was travelling. So I was,
you missed me in London?
Yeah, so I just booked the ticket straight away.
Appreciate the love. I will be back. I'm the keynote speaker for African Liberation Day in Birmingham.
Oh, cool.
And this is for all of you. In Birmingham on Sunday, May 25th. Okay? You go WhatsApp me, I'll give you the info.
Okay.
And then October, we have the week-long 70th anniversary of the 5th Pan-African Congress in Manchester.
Okay, cool. I have a question in relation to, because I don't have children.
Yes.
And you said that your youngest child was not vaccinated.
Yes.
And this is something that really, really worries me, even though I don't have children. When I have children, I don't want my children to be vaccinated because I know that a lot of the mercury and all of the poisons that are in there. How do I go about not getting them vaccinated without having them taken?
From what I understand, in most European countries, I know this to be true in Canada, I know it to be true in the States, I know it to be true in the UK, okay? There's an exemption that you can sign, okay, where your child doesn't have to get vaccinated. And I know it's true for the Netherlands because I met a parent whose child is not vaccinated, but they do go to public school.
Any vaccination at all?
Yes, it's an exemption. They don't have to get them at all. If they're going to public school, now if you put your child in a private school, the private school can almost dictate it. But even in a private school, there's still a way around it too. It's just more difficult. But if it's a public school, you can definitely get the exemption where they don't get vaccinated and go to school. Okay? In fact, one of the things we're going to be doing with the Parent Association, the policy committee, that would be something they would be investigating. What exactly is the policy in the law as it relates to getting your child exempted from immunization?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And before my brother goes, so I don't forget, if you are interested in being an organizer with the Parent Association, everyone signs up, but if you're interested in being an organizer, write organizer next to your name with the committee that you're interested in helping me to organize with, because I'm going to need some of you guys to help me to get the work done while I'm not here. I'll look to come back when I'm done with the African Liberation Day in Birmingham. That'll probably be the next time I come over to the Netherlands, so that's, you're talking the first week in May. But between now and then is almost a half a year. We really need to get organized. We need to have a couple of meetings. We need to bring the parents in. I need somebody to get me a copy of the education code translated in English, because I need to master the ed law of the Netherlands, just like I have the mastery of the ed law in the United States. But don't say you want to be an organizer if you're lazy, because you're going to piss me off. Only say I want to help if you are a worker. Please don't waste my time. Yes, sir.
Could you give some details about where you are building a school in West Africa? I've been, how do you call it, moving around. I even made I had sort of the same idea. I even got a 3D plan of a building that I dreamt of building. A couple of things you said, the 99, for example, the 99 years of the lease contract.
Yes.
Yes, I understood it was to hold foreigners or Europeans from owning the land by heritage. So in Senegal, where I have been active, or am active actually, it was 3 times 33 years. And it all had to do with making it practically impossible for foreigners to inherit the land. So
right, but if they get the lease, and then you can renew the lease, that's the same as inheritance in my book, because you just keep on passing it down every century. You just get a new lease. In practice, that's ownership to me.
Okay, well,
you know what I mean?
We from outside could jeopardize a lot by making people conscious. By reminding them that it actually was to prevent people owning the land.
Gotcha.
That, well, at least that's what that's how I interpreted the thing. But can you tell us? My question is, can you tell us where you are?
As far as the details with Africa, I'm not releasing none of those. And the reason I'm not is because when I started the fundraiser for the Fred Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, 99% of our people support and love Dr. Umar. If they didn't, I wouldn't be the most popular person and the most requested speaker in the conscious community. But that 1% of haters, they have a way of making their voice very loud. And when we did the fundraiser for St. Paul's, people tried to disrupt it. I had elders who were jealous of what I was trying to do. They tried to disrupt it. Negative information was put out. Everything from the school was sold, the school is condemned, he doesn't have permission to raise the money, he ain't got no money. Another Negro jumped up and said he was trying to buy the school. There was a lot of negative energy that was directed at me trying to do something because it had never been done before. So learning from that, I've now decided that I cannot be totally transparent about everything I do. Because when people jump up to attack, there's few people who defend me. Most black folks are scared to defend me. I'm often having to defend myself. So because people don't have my back like that in the conscious community, most of them are just groupies, they're not really workers. I gotta withhold certain things because if someone's attacking something I'm doing, I don't even know about it till it's too late. So moving forward with my next plan for FDMG, I gotta keep it in a box until I'm ready to come out with it for good. But while it's in the planning stages, if y'all can follow where I'm coming from, while it's in the planning stages, I gotta hold that tight because I seen what they try to do to St. Paul's. I had black people contact the government, the local government of St. Paul's, and contact white folks and tell white folks you don't want Dr. Umar's school in your neighborhood. They told me. Black people contacted white folks and tried to get them to push back against what I was doing for reasons of jealousy. Because had I pulled that off, if I pull it off, it ain't over, we're going to do it. It'll make a lot of people question, what is everybody else's doing? If Dr. Umar can manifest the school at 40 years old, what are you doing at 60? What are you doing at 80? What the rest of you young conscious pimps doing with the money y'all making off of black folks? You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't want to see me work because it'll expose them for not working. So I got to keep it humble right now. But once it's ready, I'm going to roll it out. Also, brothers and sisters, come on up, my brother. Before my brother comes up with his question, he'll be the last one for the night. When we're done, we can form a line. When we're done, and we can take a picture if you want to take a picture or you want me to sign a book or what have you. If we take a picture, I ask that you WhatsApp it to me because I left my phone at the hotel. So we take a picture, add me on WhatsApp, send me the picture because I like to keep a little bit of mementos for when I visit different places. So when I'm an old man, I can reflect on when I was here. But before he go, Sister Shahida arranged for this tour, brothers and sisters. She put it all together for me. Amsterdam, Rotterdam. She did an excellent job. Please give her a hand. My brother.
Yeah, thank you for coming to Rotterdam. Got inspired. My question is, I want to react to the question my brother asked a bit earlier. I've been doing some research, as Illuminati, whatever have you, and then you got your secret societies. You talked about the 1% about jealousy, then I heard about the organization called the Boule. Is that real?
Oh, very real. Phi Beta Kappa.
Okay.
Very real.
Do you think we have like Boule here in Europe as well?
You have them everywhere.
Yeah.
Wherever there has been slavery, and wherever there is white supremacy and black oppression, the Boule. I'm pretty sure y'all have Phi Beta Kappa over here as well. And even if you don't have Phi Beta Kappa in names, y'all definitely got a bourgeoisie, even if they don't have a special affiliation, that functions to keep black people in their place. That's how white people have always controlled black people, through the gatekeepers. But I'm pretty sure y'all have Phi Beta Kappa. If y'all have professionals who were trained in America or England, y'all have Phi Beta Kappa.
Yeah, because that's my next mission, personal mission. I want to know what the red flags are to recognize.
But see, here's my thing. Don't get too caught up in who's Phi Beta Kappa. My thing is this. You ain't got to be Phi Beta Kappa. And you can still be a homegrown sellout. You see what I'm saying? So Phi Beta Kappa might be a little special title you wear, but what about all the other blacks who work against us on a daily basis, who are not Phi Beta Kappa? See, me, I'm not interested whether you're Phi Beta Kappa, you're a Mason, you're an Elk. That don't, I'm consciously evaluating the behavior of every African I come in contact with. You might not be Phi Beta Kappa, but if you're working against what I'm trying to get done, you're just as much an enemy to me as anybody who belongs to that fraternity. And on the flip side, just because they in that fraternity doesn't automatically make them an enemy. Dr. Martin Luther King was Phi Beta Kappa. But he went against the grain though. You understand? Yeah. It's like I tell people in America, we gotta stop canceling everybody out because of their professional affiliation. Some people say if you're a black cop, they don't trust you. Well, I got black cops who look out for me. They're not my friends, but they're my associates. If I'm going to New York and something brewing on the ground, they'll be there. They'll drive around the electrical time. They'll pop in, let me know I'm here. You know, I got cops who will go to events and carry in case something pop off. They got my back. Because in America, you're not allowed to carry your firearm outside of your state. I'm licensed to carry in PA. I'm not licensed to carry in New York or New Jersey. Now don't get me wrong, I get love everywhere, but those are the places where you got to be on your guard when they think you most relaxed. I relaxed in New York. I relaxed in LA. I relaxed in Chicago. Those places love Dr. Umar. But that's when he would probably strike, because my guard would be down. So to say that because somebody is a cop, they can't be trusted, I'm not into that. To say because somebody was a Mason, they can't be trusted. Martin Delaney was a Mason. The grandfather Pan-Africanism, who was Marcus Garvey before Martin, he was a Mason. So you're not automatically good or bad. My question is, what are you doing with it? A brother belonged to a fraternity, sister belonged to a fraternity, okay. Are you using that fraternity to help us? Brother might be a preacher. He belonged to a church. I had a brother come up to me in the States. Dr. Umar, I'm a preacher. I know you don't like preachers. I've never said that. If you're a preacher using that pulpit to empower our people and you organizing them, I will rock with you. I speak in church. But if you up here selling people, wait till you die to have fun dream, you understand? Then I don't mess with you. So my thing is, nothing is automatically good and bad. Are y'all following me? Yeah. You got to judge everybody based on their merit. You have to judge everybody based on their merit. What if people said they don't trust nobody with their PhD from a white university? I'm a PhD with a white university. Shit, I'm as real as they come. You see what I'm saying? So you got to study everybody and judge them for yourself. Be careful with the title. Now, would I generally be suspicious of someone who's bootleg? Hell yeah. Because 9 times out of 10, they ain't going to be for the people. But am I automatically going to rule them out before I give them a chance to prove themselves? No. Look at Dr. King. You know what I mean? Yeah. So be careful of it, but don't automatically exclude. Give them a chance to earn their stripes.
Thank you.
Yeah. On that note,
we'll wrap it up.
And I'll see y'all tomorrow, 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the afternoon. If anybody got a book or want to take a picture, come on up. We're going to do a straight line. Peace and love, Black family.
Ik wil natuurlijk ook mijn dank uitbrengen aan de mensen die mij geholpen hebben om dit op te zetten, namelijk de Great Production.